G'day guys, thanks for joining me. I thought that I would start a bit of a book club / channel here on YouTube, just in response to some, a number of people that got back to me after I wrote or reposted a blog called "When Knowledge Is Not Enough." So a few people have sort of come back and said, I agree and feel like I need to work on that sort of stuff. What do you think? What do you think helped you, and what do you think some good content, some good resources, what a good research that you did into into plugging that gap? So I thought that it would be a cool way to do that, is to start this channel and to hopefully start a bit of a dialogue here. So never really done this before. Probably going to say way too much in this video, and I've made a commitment to not cut or edit it, so it's probably going to be fairly amateur, but I feel like that's kind of probably me. So I'm keen to kind of, as I said, start a bit of a community, start a conversation. So I'm really keen to get feedback. If anyone has read the book or reads the book as a result of this, and then wants to hit me up with a comment or start a conversation here, that would be awesome. I think that we learn, or I know I learn a lot from conversation and dialogue, just as much as I do from reading and research. I'm passionate about both. And I am by habit a bit of a book pusher, if you listen to my girlfriend, so this is the coolest way for me to do that on a much grander scale, and I love this. This is the favourite room in my house. Got my library here, and I sit in the front room here and ponder the universe. And I thought it would be just a cool way to share what I do know, and hopefully start these conversations for everyone's benefit. So this first book that I wanted to talk about was, for me, probably just a good intro. Like, a few people had come back to me and said, "What do you think? Where's a good place to start?" And I thought, I wrote down a list of books for a couple of guys, and I thought, this is probably the one that would start that. And it's a book called written by Michael Brooks. Can't edit that out now. And it's called Instant Rapport. And I can't show you the hard copy because, being a book pusher, I gave it to somebody and they haven't given it back. And if you are watching this, person, you know who you are. I'm waiting for that book to come back. But no, it's a great book, and there's a good story behind it as well. I actually found this book on a PD trip to Boston maybe 2-3 years ago there to meet some coaches and go and have a look at some different facilities and stuff. And I always make a habit of going in and trying to find some trying to find the local bookshop and see if there's anything in there that I would never find otherwise. And this was definitely one of those occasions. Really cool bookshop called Trident. And so if anyone here is from Boston and hasn't been, go, because it's cool. I spent maybe 3 or 4 hours of my life there, and I thought it was a really cool place. Nice little cafe in there and some really cool, just different books, things that I never would have seen otherwise. This being one of them, and another really cool book called Body Mind that I might review on another occasion. So yeah, I suppose getting into the book, it was really for me just an introduction into, I suppose, the field of neurolinguistics. And there's probably a lot of people that know what that is. It's basically just the way the brain processes language and the science of that, and it was really just a good introduction into it, and to sort of really thinking about the information that we convey, and the way that we do that, and the effect that has on the person. And it made me just a lot more aware of the interactions that I do have in a professional sense, and also a personal sense. And I think that it definitely made a massive difference for me in a few different areas. One good example was probably the way that I interact with athletes. To brief them on a session or a plan that we've got. I spend a lot more time getting into physical rapport. So making sure that from a postural point of view, that I'm mirroring their body language. So at an unconscious level, they feel safe. And really that's what rapport comes down to. It's just making the person feel safe, and this book's really just good at sort of outlining that. And it really just comes down to biology and evolution. Our brains are wired to look for differences, and differences are perceived as threats. So if you can make yourself seem as similar to the person as possible, and on the same wavelength, and really looking from their perspective, they feel a lot safer, and they're going to hear your message. And probably the classic example of lack of rapport is the classic personal trainer in the middle of the park, standing with arms crossed over someone doing sit-ups. That's just I look at that these days. I'm like, that's just horrible rapport. You know what I mean? That's not going to build. It's not going to build a strong relationship. It's certainly not the position I'd be standing in, or not the position I'd be putting myself in if I was doing the same thing. So I make sure that if an athlete's on the ground rolling, or doing stretching or anything like that in preparation for a session, I get into the same posture. I'll get down, come down to their level, and make sure that I'm speaking in the same tone and pitch, and just mirroring them as much as possible. And that's really just a habit now. And for my mind, it's actually just good manners. And it's amazing how obvious it is when you're out of rapport, when you understand what rapport is. And I think this, as I said, this book's a really good intro. Good starting point, easy to read. I think I read it maybe 1 or 2 days, and it's got some really good practical tips on how you can start to notice and start to kind of utilize this information to improve yourself now. That's pretty much it. I want to keep these things pretty short and sweet. I hope it was useful. If you did like it, please let me know. Give me some feedback. If you didn't like it, that's fine as well. The real thing for me is that, as I said, I get to push my books. But the main thing is I just want to start a conversation, start a bit of a community, and I think that, as I said at the start, we will all benefit. Hopefully, time permitting, I'll do another one soon. But yeah, as I said, please, any feedback you've got, more than open to hear any. But thanks, guys. See ya.